In this video, I'd like to discuss textile printing. This would also include embroidery or anything else being done to garments. To begin with, if we're in control, the first place we'll want to go is to the textile product itself. Once you enter the textile, the next place you'll see at the top, Add Garments. This will be to add the garments that you need to your order. If I go into Add Garments, you'll get a screen that first asks for a category of garments, and you can select a category. Once the initial category is selected, it will show up and show you the garments that are in that category. You can search based off of a mill number, a color, a size, a brand, or a material. Now, if you need to search on other functions, your implementer would be able to help you add any other search tools that may be required. Once we have our garments alerted that we want, we just enter in the quantity of each type of garment that they are ordering and add that to the order. If I select another type of garment, it will bring up those garments that are in that category as well, and they can then be added to the order as well. The other thing to note when adding in garments, at the bottom you'll notice that we've included all of the garments so far in batch 1. You can name this batch whatever you want. It may be Team A compared to Team B or whatever it may be. You can also add in parts into different categories. So if I go in and add in a couple different garments, you'll notice that I have some in batch 1 and some in batch 2 or Team A, Team B, whatever it is that you may refer these to. The advantage of batches is it allows you to manipulate the items later, meaning maybe batch 1 gets a full back and a left chest, where batch 2 only gets a left chest, the same left chest, but no back. It just breaks those numbers so that you can manipulate them as you need to later when we get to the production side. If you update the summary, it will just break down based off the batch of how many of each size, total, price, etc. of the garments themselves. Then we can hit OK. Well, now on this screen, you'll notice all the garments we have selected in either batch. And then we can add in the process that we're doing to these garments. Let's start with screen printing. In this case, we'll do a standard screen print. This is different templates, can define different rules. From here, our first location we said was a left chest. The image number or name, if you'd like to type it, how many colors. Now you can manually enter in the colors here, or you can go into the image details and type in the colors or enter the colors that you'd like, and it will count as you add. It's up to you. If you're not sure of the colors, you can just type it in, but if you are, it's good to enter that information into the order at this time. And that's our first location. Now our first location we said was both batch 1 and batch 2 were getting a left chest. However, only batch 1 was getting a full front. So in this case, I'm going to choose a secondary location of the full front. How many colors, or go in and type in the colors. Just say this is a red. But in this scenario, we are only doing the full front on the first batch, not the second batch, so I'm going to unselect that. Now you'll notice we have 80 in the first batch and 40 in the second batch to be printed. If we expand upon this screen print window, you will notice that the press was set by default based off the template. Any press options, and you can get with your implementer, they'll help you set these up for anything that you may do irregular, as well as the additional information. Now the screen, since I pulled screen printing, has automatically pulled the process of screens. This particular sample set, they create their screens by printing to vellum first. And so the screen becomes a vellum print process with additional labor for washing and cleaning, etc. These can be set based off of a price per piece or based off of costing, in the same way the screen print can be. Next thing we come to would be direct print. This is a very similar product. Other than screen printing, you're direct print to garment. Embroidery. When entering an embroidery, it needs to know the template. Again, you may have different templates, the location, any additional colors of the embroidery. Now, you may or may not know stitches at this point. Based off of an image type, meaning if I choose a stock image that already knows the stitch count, it's going to add those stitch counts. If I add in just text, it's going to try to calculate those stitch counts. If I try to just add a custom, this is basically you're going to type it in each time what the stitch count's going to be with any name or font. The production works the same way. Now, since again this could be a full front, we're referring to which batches are being embroidered, because it may be possible that I'm embroidering the left chest and screen printing the back on some of them. Our machine, any press options that you may have, such as adding backers, which may affect time, as well as materials, the thread, and thread type. Now, you can have, of course, all your different colors of threads, but the default is using this particular thread material, and the colors are secondary. You can get with your implementer if you decide you need to inventory each individual thread color separately. They could attach them to the colors rather than to a single thread. If we move into more the transfer, this is really transferring, dye sub transfer, vinyl transfer, whatever it might be. The location, the colors if applicable. Same with the image type, very similar to embroidery, what it might do, as well as the production times. Custom vinyl, of course, we're going to plot out. Digital would be a digital print product, etc. Applique, now if we look at this transfer and open it up, you'll notice that we may be applying or the applique this particular transfer to the order. Often you would set this to default to always add your press process as far as your transfer press to the transfer product. However, if you purchase your appliques or you purchase patches or something pre-applied, generally you could just jump into applique directly and let the system know that, whether it was custom, etc. And if it's custom, you can type in your cost if you're purchasing patches or things of that nature to apply to these garments. Now, once we have the listing, you will notice that it's listing out all of our garments. This is typically what's going to print. This price that's listed is a combined price. It is a price of both the garment as well as the price of the production of that garment is listed. When printed, typically you would not print necessarily these children, at least not the price of these children, because it's all going to roll up into the individual garments. This concludes our short video on textile and textile screen printing.